Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burby's 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Hello and welcome to your news at noon right here on Kaieteur Radio. Kevin Smith with your news in detail. However, before we get to the news, let's get to the front page comment brought to you by Kaieteur News. We must resist being robbed. Guyanese are intense and passionate about elections, as they should be. But when it comes to the most important issue of their lives and those of their children and grandchildren, they couldn't care less. Not even when the biggest economic crime ever committed in Guyana takes place before their eyes and under their noses. A multi-billion US dollar economic crime is being perpetuated by political leaders and their secret partners, and nearly all Guyanese shrug and continue to bend over to be ruthlessly worked over by the same people for whom they've fought so gallantly. The Kanji and Kaieteur blocks are estimated to hold over 7 billion barrels of oil, but the two blocks and their billions of barrels have been given away in a secret deal by PPPC leaders to mysterious characters under cryptic circumstances. The mystery men have then sold part of their interest to ExxonMobil. The PPPC leaders are mum about these deals. They want this to be kept secret and away from prying eyes. We will not do so. We will not allow our children and grandchildren to be cheated out of their rightful inheritance. We, our children and grandchildren, have a life free of want and poverty. We can all be rich, but the right deals have to be made. The Kanji and Kaieteur blocks are part of our heritage and our wealth to be held in trust for those coming after us. It is not the PPPs or the PNCs to give away recklessly and criminally for the crooked benefit of persons unknown. We did not risk our lives for 5 long and dark months to have our wealth given away by the direct beneficiaries of our efforts. It is why we at Kaieteur News and Kaieteur Radio keep asking, who owns these blocks? Who benefits? What are the financial and other arrangements under which these deals were struck? When will Guyanese begin to realize how they are being robbed? We resisted our democracy being stolen. We must resist with equal vigor and determination the stealing of our wealth. Guyanese should and must care. If we fail to do so, the bright future for our people, which our wealth guarantees, will disappear into the pockets of robbers who masquerade as political leaders, those who we elected to secure and protect our interest. We must start caring now. Once again, this is your news at noon. These are the top stories retracking. Conflicting accounts given by Edgell and Patterson on CJIA expansion. Key oversight mechanisms not yet in place for oil money. And this is a recipe for disaster, says industry expert. And years later, with hundreds of millions spent, several schools still incomplete, says Minister Manik Chand. 214 million advanced to BK International for Yarrow Cabra Secondary School and $60 million advanced to Courtney Ben for St. Rose's High. Meanwhile, special audit being conducted into millions spent on private lawyers by the APNU AFC, says the AG, and sleeping driver wakes up after killing pedal cyclist. Stay tuned to stay informed.
Enjoy Free Night Talk with Digicel, the curfew edition. Get unlimited free talk to any Digicel number between 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. All you have to do is top up $1,000 or more every day before 6 p.m. to enjoy unlimited free talk. That's a whole lot of gaff. No more boring nights. You can now call your mommy, daddy, your bestie, your boo, even granny to tell them all that Digicel unlimited free night talk is back. Terms and conditions apply. Digicel, there with you.
And now for the news in detail. Former Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson has refuted claims by the current Minister of Public Works Juan Edgell regarding the reduced expansion of the $150 million Chedi Jagan International Airport. Edgell said that the scope of works was reduced by the APNU AFC from 9,000 square meters to 4,046. With these changes, Edgell shared with that an additional $6.5 million would be necessary to bring the airport to optimum functioning. However, Patterson sought to debunk those claims by Edgell, as he indicated that the reduction of air bridges and thereby the reduction of the scope of works was done before the APNU AFC assumed government in May 2015. Patterson asserted that it was the PPPC who made the changes to reduce the number of bridges. In other news, to date, Guyana's Natural Resource Fund, which is held at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, holds over $98 million based on royalties and sales executed thus far for the state's share of the Liza crude. In order to ensure this account does not become a slush fund, industry experts are strongly advising that key oversight mechanisms need to be put in place as quickly as possible. Specifically making this appeal recently was Arthur Deakin, an analyst at America's Market Intelligence. Deakin recalled that the Irfan Ali administration has vouched to change the NRF Act to make it more transparent, but he was keen to note that the new government has not made it clear about if and when it will follow through on this pledge. In the meantime, the fund remains without all the mechanisms that are needed to ensure proper oversight. And moving on, years have passed, and despite contractors receiving millions in advance payments for the construction of several schools, they remain incomplete, with their work continuing to move at a snail's pace. The Minister of Education, Priya Manik Chand, on Friday lambasted the previous APNU AFC for mismanaging the construction of these schools. Attention was given to the contentious $827 million Yarrow Cabra Secondary School on the Soosdijk Highway. This contract was awarded on December 31, 2019, when the coalition was deemed to be in a caretaker mode. Nonetheless, the Education Ministry under the APNU AFC had signed the multi-million contract with the contractor, BK International Incorporated, on January 7, 2020. Some $240 million has already been advanced to BK International, but a mere 3.5% of the works have completed, the minister said, as she added that at this time the contractor should have completed at least 8% of the works. Attention was then turned to the construction of the St. Rose's High School, which was awarded to Courtney Benn Contracting Services in August of 2018. 2 years have passed, with the contractor receiving $60 million advance from the government, but to date, only 8% of the works have been completed. And moving on, a special audit is currently being undertaken by the Auditor General's Office into the millions of taxpayer dollars expended by the previous APNU AFC coalition administration to procure the services of private lawyers for elections-related litigations and other personal matters. Revealing this was Attorney General and Legal Affairs Minister Anil Nandlal. According to Nandlal, the last regime paid the staggering sum of $146,099,180 Guyana dollars from 2017 to 2020 to private lawyers. That figure, however, only relates to the invoices discovered by the Attorney General's chambers. He was quick to point out that dozens of other invoices cannot be found for the attorneys retained by the APNU AFC during the melee of madness, the 5 months from March to August 2020. In other news, a 33-year-old contractor was on Saturday last awoken from his sleep after he had struck and killed a pedal cyclist with his car along the Zeeburg Public Road on the west coast of Demerara. Dead is 39-year-old Somati Prasad of 75 Mandal Street, Zeeburg. According to police reports, Prasad was struck down at around 15:20. Investigators were told that Prasad was at the time riding along the southern side of the road heading in the west direction when she met with the fatal accident. The contractor, who hails from Zeelat, was also heading along the same direction as Prasad at a normal rate of speed. However, the man reportedly fell asleep at the wheel and only awoke when he heard a loud impact. The man exited the car and noticed that his car was stationary against the fence. Nearby on the parapet lay Prasad motionless, with notable injuries about her. The woman was rushed to the Lenora Cottage Hospital, where she was pronounced dead on arrival. The contractor was later arrested and taken into police custody. A breathalyzer test was conducted, but it showed that the man was not under the influence of alcohol. You are tuned into Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM, and this is your news at noon. Coming up after the break, Rose Hall Estate begins rehiring process. Over 400 severed workers registered, assessment of factory complete, and EITI to pursue full disclosures of beneficiaries in extractives deals, says political will is necessary. Meanwhile, current 13-year-old girl missing, and Patterson challenges PPP government to stop chirping and get a better oil deal.
Hey kids, are you home and don't know what to do? Then Kaieteur Radio has got you covered. Join us every day Monday to Friday at 12 hours 30 for a special edition of Kids Zone. We will bring to you exciting facts on science, mammals, birds, sharks, you name it, we've got it. We've even got fun and craft activities for you to do right at home, not forgetting our maths and English segment to keep you up top of the game. Listen to stories and poems read by your fellow kids. And if you would like to be a part of this program, then have your parents contact us on 622-2222 or email us at kaieteurradio@gmail.com. Kids Zone, only on Kaieteur Radio 99.1, 99.5 FM. The radio with a difference. Are you looking for a platform to share your views, concerns, and stay informed? Then Wake Up Guyana is for you. Join senior journalist Leonard Gildari Monday to Friday at 13 hours for Wake Up Guyana. Participate in our call-in segment to get instant feedback and solutions. Wake Up Guyana, only on Kaieteur Radio. Kaieteur Radio, the radio with a difference.
Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. After nearly 2 years of being unemployed or forced to find other jobs, the management at Rose Hall Estate has begun to rehire persons. A senior source attached to the estate confirmed that the rehiring process commenced a week ago, and thus far over 410 persons have registered to be employed again. The manager of the estate, Aaron Dukia, said that they are hiring a limited amount of persons because they are giving emphasis on the persons who were severed. He disclosed that presently the management of the estate is engaged in a preparatory work in terms of hiring persons to assist in clearing the fields, so it's currently just a small amount of people needed at this time. Additionally, the manager of the estate stated that the process of rehiring will continue for another month, and as the volume of work continues, the employment will increase. And moving on, the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, or EITI, is of the view that transparency in beneficial ownership is critical to mitigating corruption and preventing illicit flows of finances. That is why it is partnering with Open Ownership, a global advocate for transparency, on a new program called Opening Extractives. The program is intended to accelerate beneficial ownership and transparency in the extractives industry. Transparency in this regard means the public is fully aware of who ultimately controls and benefits from a company and its operations. In an industry where high revenue flows are quite constant, the EITI says it is important for the people to be informed. In other news, a 13-year-old has gone missing from her home in Brighton Village, Quarantine. Missing is Alia Boussaid, who was last seen by her mother at their Brighton home last September 15th. Reports are that her mother, Reshma Badrinath, a single parent, was having a bath. When she stepped out, her daughter was nowhere to be found in the house. Relatives in a Facebook post described Alia as being brown in complexion, tall, with curly black hair. According to information, the teen was cyberbullied prior to her disappearance. The missing teen's mother said that since her daughter went missing, she managed to make contact with her once and was told by the teen not to worry, that she will return home. The mother is pleading with anyone who may have any information to make contact with the nearest police station or call her number at 683-3404. That number again is 683-3404. In other news, AFC MP David Patterson is now challenging the Irfan Ali administration to renegotiate the Stabroek Block agreement with ExxonMobil. During his address in Parliament on Thursday, Patterson reminded that the PPPC has repeatedly promised throughout its elections campaign to renegotiate contracts in the oil sector. He added that the opposition will not stand in the way of any process that would bring additional benefit to the people of Guyana. Local press has shed light over the years on various aspects of the contract with ExxonMobil, Hess and CNOOC, which have been criticized as illegal, unfair and lopsided. Despite accepting that the contract is poor, Vice President Bara Jagdeo has said that the PPPC will not renegotiate the deal. And moving on, through the Child Care and Protection Agency, the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security will be observing Child Protection Week 2020, which kicks off from today to September 29th under the theme Protecting Children and Empowering Families to Cope with the Global Pandemic. The ministry stated that the theme for this year resonates with their continued efforts to ensure Guyanese children are safe, and they are also aiming to build the capacity of the children's families, enabling them to create an environment which allows children to reach their potential even in these challenging times. The time is now 12 hours 19. Stay tuned. Coming up next is your COVID-19 update.
Guyana is now a full-fledged oil-producing nation. But how much do you know about this valuable yet finite resource? On our radio program, Guyana's Oil and You, we strike at the heart of every issue with informed views and credible data. The time is now for you to arm yourself with insightful knowledge on your oil wealth.
And now for your COVID-19 update. The number of worldwide coronavirus cases, according to Worldometer, has reached 31,312,622, with deaths at 966,089. Recovery cases has reached 22,894,278. Guyana now has 65 COVID-19 related deaths. The latest fatality is a 51-year-old man from Region 4 who died while receiving care at a medical facility. The update comes even as the Ministry of Health reported a total of 100 new COVID-19 cases. The new cases bring the total number of confirmed ones to 2,269. There are 16 persons in the COVID-19 ICU, 83 in institutional isolation, and 767 in home isolation. There are also 55 persons in institutional quarantine. The number of persons who have recovered to date is 1,339. Now that the backlog of COVID-19 test results have been cleared, Guyanese will be able to receive their test results within 48 hours. This is according to Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony. He stated that these results will be from the most recent testing conducted. Presently, samples being sent to the Nation Public Health Reference Laboratory are being managed and processed promptly. The minimum time for processing of test samples is 28 hours and maximum is 48 hours, according to the minister. Just recently, the Georgetown Public Hospital testing unit at the East Street entrance started sending persons displaying no symptoms of the virus to other facilities to get tested. This was in light of the major backlog of over 1,000 tests that the ministry was working to combat. And coming from the CNN, the U.S. is nearing the grim milestone of 200,000 coronavirus deaths. The CDC updated guidance to say coronavirus can spread through the air. The World Health Organization warned that coronavirus cases are surging alarmingly in Europe, with infections spiking to new heights. All Guyanese are reminded to observe the protocols of the COVID-19 Emergency Measures Order, which is in effect until September 30th, 2020. The order emphasizes the need for correct and consistent use of face masks when leaving homes, the importance of maintaining the 6 feet physical distance from others, and the need for good hand hygiene to help reduce the spread of COVID-19. Stay tuned. Coming up next is the National Outlook with GHK Lal. The news was kindly sponsored by Amal Landa Milk.